Good evening. It is August 8th, 2024, and I'm going to make a quick video. It's just going to be a straight progress update on my health journey. For those of you who don't know, my name is Amanda, and I'm an aspiring health coach, and I'm documenting my physical and mental health struggles. I have spent all summer in a state of I don't know how to describe it. Um, a very characteristic pattern of backsliding. I've done some remarkable things this year in terms of my health and my habits. For me, a 6-month block of time is a pretty good block of time where I wasn't vaping and I was working out really consistently with a lot of intensity. And I built my physique enough that people were really commenting on it. But what I'm trying to do is not just circle back to the same old fitness routines. I'm trying to kind of deepen things. I'm going for an entirely different paradigm. Because fitness, and I was a personal trainer for 3 years, so fitness is a really good entry point, I would say, for health and people who get really into fitness. Obviously, achieve a much higher level of health than the general population. But in my mind, what I'm trying to do is a very different thing than what I did when I was a personal trainer. So I'm looking to build a base of knowledge that is not about changing body composition. And on a personal level, I'm trying to understand what makes me constantly go through these cycles where I'm very, very gung ho. And then I guess you could say burn out or crash and burn. To me, it doesn't feel like I get bored or hit a wall, so to speak. What often happens, even though that may be the case, what often happens is there will be a triggering event and I will go back to using nicotine. And that's usually where things get that is when nicotine is basically like there's a door inside me, and behind the door is this tunnel. Once I go through it, I have no control. I'm just going to be sucked like a giant wind turbine. It's just going to suck me through all my bad habits. So, because in my mind, it's like if you're gonna vape, I mean, what the hell is the point? So once I am open to that, then I'm like, all my other little battles, for example, not eating processed food. I will eat processed food because I'll say to myself, I mean, really, if you're vaping, and then it just becomes the gateway to hell, really. It's like it's really is it's all or nothing with me. And vaping is everything. Vaping may very well be the key to good health or bad health. it's interesting to me to look at people who don't have this history of an addiction, in particular to nicotine. No, I see people all the time, and I'm just like, I wonder if I'm healthier or worse than they are, and they don't know it because they think that I'm healthier than them because, frankly, I'm not fat. Um, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. That's what I mean by the deeper level of it. I mean it both in terms of psychology, um, how to break that pattern that feels very fundamental to who I am at this point because it's never really been any different. So this to me, that's a very scary challenge is trying to shut down the all or nothingness of me. Because right now I'm on an upswing. I was working with a health coach, and I'll talk more about how that's going. They had set for me a quit date of August 1st. August 1st rolled around, and I was just like, no. I spent many, many weekends throughout the summer trying to, in my mind, quit. And I figured out that quitting on a weekend is not a good idea because one of my main drivers or main triggers is free time. And I do so much better. I quit on a Monday. I quit this Monday. I had no issues. That's the thing. I don't have withdrawal. So I don't know how to explain to people why I have quit like 60 times in my life and I'll make it months. This time 6 months. 6 months is even more, that by then your nicotine receptors are in your brain they've died out. They're not getting what they needed. So it's definitely not a physiological addiction. Another thing about quitting vaping or nicotine that I learned was that it takes 3 days for your body to clear the nicotine. And so that means that after 3 days of cold turkey, all of your cravings are psychological. None of them are physiological. And for me, the experience of quitting is like, especially since I started using e-cigs instead of cigarettes. When I quit, like the day that I wake up and I haven't vaped since the night before and I don't vape all day, I feel so much better. And I wasn't in a bad mood. I don't have headaches. I don't get the munchies. I don't experience anything but a gradual lift and a decrease in the chronic pain that I feel. Frankly, I don't understand it. I don't understand all this because when I am vaping, here's what I experience. The e-cigs, I gave my friends like he wanted to try a puff. He was like, "Oh, let me," and he took it and he was like, "This is like meth," and I'm like, "Yes, it's." I mean, I think that's what I mean by when I say it's made the nicotine addiction worse. I feel like, wow, like this is like what, just like when crack cocaine was done with nicotine, the crack of nicotine. Because the thing about it is when you smoke a cigarette, even though there's this heinous like smoke that chars the soft tissues, and you literally are inhaling the smoke and the tar, and I mean, so gross. But in terms of the delivery of nicotine, it takes as long as it takes you to smoke that cigarette to get the full amount of the nicotine from the cigarette into your system, and it really depends how deeply you inhale and smoke where you are. So when I switched to the e-cigs, because I wasn't really smoking that heavily with the cigarettes, when I switched to the e-cigs, you can't get a concentration less than 5% in the over-the-counter, like the Ludos. I forget what they call them. I think they call them mods. But, right, so you get, and I took one hit and I felt like from that one puff, it was like one whole cigarette. I literally will, so I'm just gonna make this video just about the addiction, and we'll talk more about other shit later. So I go home, and every day after work, there's a window of time where I'm so vulnerable, and I'm arm wrestling the addiction, and I know usually when I'm heading home from work, who's gonna win, and the addiction wins until it just doesn't, because there's this window of time when I'm backsliding, and it has to do with the transition in the day from work into the rest of the day. And after work, frankly, my rationalization is I feel so tired. I'm not going to work out. I need a way to decompress. And I would use vaping kind of as a way to switch over from work to not work. It's sort of like I just couldn't find a way to relax. And I would be so tired. I would hate this feeling of being like wiped out and tired, and not really tired enough to just lay down and fall asleep, but too tired, for instance, to just do yoga or something. So it's just finding like this, and also lonely, because all of a sudden you've gone from being surrounded by people and activity to coming home. And for whatever reason, that was just like the vulnerable part of my day became a daily trial, a daily struggle. And the whole linchpin was I need to find a way to get through a weekday. And I knew that if I could get over, it was literally a 1.5 hour window for 3 days, then I would be cool. But physically, this is what I go through when I'm vaping. I'll always vape with either caffeine or alcohol. I like nicotine in conjunction with other drugs. And I don't like to drink that much, so it's very rare that I drink it with alcohol. So I'll have an iced coffee, take some hits off of an e-cig, and immediately feel lightheaded, in some cases dizzy, so completely demotivated. My heart will pound. I usually will take a nap after that. In general, the vaping will cause me to have some congestion. I can have headaches, like I feel a sort of tension in my head because it raises my blood pressure, and I'm very sensitive to that. At night, I can have like heart palpitations. I often feel, how to put it, doesn't make me feel jittery. It doesn't make me feel anxious. It kind of caps my emotions in a way. I feel like numbed out, like I don't care anymore about things. Sore throat. I'll get kind of sore throat, especially in the mornings. Would wake up and have sore throat. And so I imagine how people would listen to this and be like, so like why? Like what do you get out of it? And I'm honestly I'm trying to formulate a response to that question. The answer is I don't really I'm not able to articulate that as much as I would like to. And then that worries me because I need to understand what it is that I truly, um, what it's doing for me. Not, I know there's no benefits health wise, but we don't give ourselves enough grace or compassion many times when talking about our own behaviors, especially behaviors that we know are associated with ill health, or that are bad habits. Um, there is some need that we're serving, and that is okay. It's okay to serve our needs. We have to find better strategies, and we can do so in a smarter, wiser way. But fundamentally, those kinds of behaviors are about self-soothing. So I need to think more about. I need to think more about what the nicotine does for me in terms of self-soothing and why it's been such a long-standing habit. But towards that end, okay, so I haven't vaped in days. I'm starting to get back into the swing of working out. I did 3 weight workouts this week. The theme of July in terms of health was water. So I knew I was going to be vaping and I just wanted myself to continue to latch on to just one healthy habit, drinking massive amounts of water every day. So I take one of these. This is a half gallon, and I will drink at least one of these, sometimes more a day at work. Um, and I bought a water testing kit to test my at home water. So I'm trying to build these little projects, and each month has a theme. Um, where I'm at in terms of my overall wellness plan is exploring resources and gathering data. So data was to be the theme of August. The amount of detail and the amount of data that I have set to gather will probably take me 6 months. I would like it to take 3 months. But there are some constraints, and that is I'm figuring out what's the best way to do this, and there are cost constraints. So I've made a list based on my research of all of the tests that I want to run on myself, not because it's making me a hypochondriac, but just because part of my goal is to get a complete picture of my health. So I don't necessarily believe that I have a problem with these things. In many, many cases, I want to see what the data is so I can learn, just so I can learn more about, for example, what is a gut microbiome test? What do the results look like? What kinds of terms exist on there? Or a thyroid check, you know, is it going to tell me levels for T3, T4, TSH, what are the normal levels for a person my age? What are the normal levels for somebody of a different sex and gender, et cetera, et cetera. These are learning opportunities for me. Um, Things to do before I enter into a certification program because it's a lot of money to commit to, but also just for me to know, right? I don't want to continuously base how healthy I think I am on my gym performance or my body composition because I think those are rather crude uh, measures at this point and incomplete. So August was to be about data gathering. The most important thing about August was for me to quit vaping, and I'm doing that quite well, handily. Um, I'm looking, so I'm looking. I signed up for Index Health. Um, I don't want to say too much yet. I don't have my first appointment until the 21st. Let's just leave it at that. And that is towards the data gathering and also because you work with somebody who is going to really look at thousands of data points for you and help me come up with a wellness plan for me, right? I believe in learning by experience. I believe in learning through research. And I also believe in learning by deferring to people who have expertise. So, one of the reasons why I think I'm so good at fitness and working out and weightlifting is because I will follow until I master something, right? And then I know that in order to get the best results in the gym, I might need to relinquish the creative license and autonomy that I feel like having that gratifies me to have to someone else. So following somebody else's program is going to get me better results than sticking to whatever I feel like doing. Okay. So it's the same. It's the same here. So in that spirit, I am contacting people and this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this one special person who fundamentally gets the problem of motivational cycling, peaks and valleys that I go through, who can help me understand why I crash and burn and can help me prevent that from recurring. So there was one person in my past, the woman who does neurofeedback training. She really seemed to get me psychologically. So I might go back to her. But in the meantime, I am exploring all kinds of different modalities and practitioners. So I have the Index Health service. I have a web coach through WebMD that I'll talk more about that later. This Saturday, I'm having a Reiki session because I'm exploring energy medicine. And I have contacted an energy healer in my area. Although that's going to be way far off, like 8 months from now. I think I'll work intensely with her. And I am doing consults with two different people that I'm just going to go ahead and throw them out there because I want to recommend them I haven't had any experience with them. But if anything that I've said so far resonates with you, I think that I've been watching one of their YouTube channel for a while, and I think that it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And This person is a former psychiatric nurse and also somebody who was a psychiatric patient who took antidepressants and felt that she was harmed and left the industry and left the profession in order to become a health coach, I guess. Um, but she's extremely educated, extremely credentialed, just like the people whose books I've read. And her name, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Nesret Bemiant, Neseret, capital Bement, and she has her own YouTube channel. And if you think that I'm a complete nutcase in denial, living in denial of my bipolar disorder, what have you, that's fine. Okay, you can. I don't care. Comment below, whatever. Take my face off. I really don't care. But if nothing else, promise me that you will check out this YouTube channel, okay? Because she makes these extremely concise, short videos, topic by topic, taking apart the industry from her very well documented experience. So please check her out. But she is somebody who believes that bipolar disorder can be cured. Cured, okay? She's using the C word on her channel with respect to mental disorders. So I scheduled a consult with her because I just want to pick her brain, okay? She's a lot more educated and sciencey. She has a degree in nursing and 17 years of experience, and she's currently into the ketogenic diet. I don't know if I could ever do that, but I want to learn. I want to defer. I want to be open-minded. This entire process is about me being extremely open-minded, exploratory, not dismissing anything out of hand, gobbling up reading material, but also going for the gold in terms of firsthand experience. Okay, so that's going on, and I would highly recommend that you check out this YouTube channel. The other thing that I found just today is this website called stronginsideout.com, and I was like, wow, okay, boom, click, I'm in. Because her marketing was like so on point, and my coaching is for you if you have or suspect you have one or more mental health disorders or are neurodivergent, blah blah blah, diagnosis not required. You tend to think pretty extremely. You're kind of all or nothing. You've had success before, but it crashed and burned, or you just lost interest. You want to get healthy, but you feel blocked, overwhelmed, or stuck when it comes to starting. You struggle with shame and often beat yourself up. And so I read this list, and I was like, this is the stuff that I can't bring myself to talk to doctors, or in some cases, even therapists about. Okay, because I feel like even I get so stressed out, even by things that are so ridiculous. So, for example, the WebMD health coaching platform asks you to fill out a questionnaire about your behaviors and such. And this is the process of it created so much stress in me, precisely because it's asking, how often do you work out? This is where the split, this is where the bipolarity comes in. Because you ask me a question like that, and I don't know how to answer, because for the past month, it's been like 0 times a week, okay? But for the past, the 6 months before that, it was 4 or 5 times. Alcohol. Do you drink alcohol? I drink alcohol a few times a year in the summer. How much? A beer? 5 beers in a single night. Like I don't have the same. I've never. But see, this is the thing. I think from being labeled bipolar, I think I often assume that my inconsistency is this starkly divergent, abnormal level of it, and it's really not. It's really not. And then I'm gonna make a whole other video about why it's so difficult to talk about behavior once you've been labeled bipolar, because you may be struggling with things that are completely subclinical, but because of the global total nature of the diagnosis, suddenly, like, I am a lot less apt than anyone to like cop to things like, yeah, I think I could really cut back and like, I definitely have an online shopping. Like, I have an online shopping problem that I don't want to talk about because I feel like if I talk about it to anyone else and they also have information like this person is bipolar, they will assume that it's mania. But I could have an online shopping problem that doesn't look anything like I'm not spending. It's the same as people without the diagnosis. Like I suddenly I'm not allowed to have foibles or peccadillos the same as any other person because it's so peculiar how these lists of behaviors, and so I just won't talk about problems that I have or work on problems that I have because of this. Let's not even go there. Because I don't have to untrain people who've already been trained quite well by the industry. And so well, they don't even realize that that's what's going on. They've been trained. So, anyway, that was really a tangent. But I think that this chick can get me. So we'll see. Like, we'll see. Her name is Amy. I really loved her website. We'll see. This is somebody that I want, that ultimately that's what I want to do. So I'm going to work with people. I'm going to learn from them. Maybe they can mentor me, or maybe I'm just going to pick their brain. So that's where I'm at with that. I'm going to do another video about the chronic pain and another video about time. So this month is about rapid re-entry into the state of myself before I slid off the rails at the beginning of the summer. Okay, that's enough for now. Good night. I hope you're well.